Is there subtle submission happening in your relationship and your business? This is something that I talked to a returning client about today. And she started off by talking about her business, the growth it's going through at the moment, and she was expressing how she's in integrity with her prices and services delivered. But that same old thing happened the more that she was speaking into her business right now. The more you speak into something, the more reality lands. And she was realizing that there were dynamics playing out in her business that actually weren't 100% on board with her saying that she charges appropriately for her time and is in fullest integrity. She's in fullest integrity, but she was starting to realize how she's not fully charging for her time and what it is that she gives. And that in fact, there are some clients that drain her and play on her mind, on her personal time. And it was really interesting talking about that and what she could do differently and what she could tweak in order to elevate into a greater place of sovereignty. And then she wanted to switch gears to her relationship. And within her relationship, she said, submission has been slowly creeping in and I don't like it. I don't want it. So this submission isn't surrender. It is submission. It is feeling overwhelmed with the prospect of speaking up for herself and saying no, and this is what I want, and these are my standards in the relationship. She found herself nodding, playing along with, and placating her partner. And she said, I don't like it. I know it can be so much better than this. And she's right. And it was interesting listening to how this has been happening over the last year or so, and how over the last 6 months of her business growth, it's been great, but there's still some points of contact and client interactions where she's not completely in her power. And because she's not completely in her power, those leaks have got to go somewhere, right? And they were ending up, we realized, they were ending up creating a sense of freneticness for her and a sense of rushing. And she noticed every time she was in that state, it was cock blocking the money and the clients from coming through. So it's happening in her business. It's happening in her bedroom. And I want to normalize this, because when we don't have support in place, and this was a big reminder for her today, when we don't have support in place and we are constantly self-regulating, as we should, but self-managing and constantly navigating our own energy without a soundboard, without an external voice, when we continuously do that alone, what happens is the power leaks become normal and the sense of submission becomes normal as well, even though it's undesired. What happens within a woman is she feels like this is the normal. What continually happens to her or feels common or feels like a common denominator, she now goes, this is the way it is. This is normal. And when we go it alone, when we don't have that soundboard, that's when we go, oh, wait a minute. It's taking a lot of effort and energy for me to elevate out of this. I want to be in my power. I want to be in my sovereignty. I don't want to be continually submissive to my partner. I don't want to be continually submissive to my clients, pandering to them. But I also can't quite get myself out of that fast enough. It's not that you won't get yourself out of that. It's more a question of, could this be infinitely more efficient? In that submission takes you down, has you ensure that everyone else feels comfortable, has you deprioritize your own needs, has you pedestal the needs of everyone else, and has you go into a quasi-survival state as well. Because she was explaining to me how she was gripping on, trying to preserve, trying to keep everything as it is and not wanting anything to be shaken, disrupted. She didn't want anything to break. So we really examined those energetics and we cleaned up some of the root origins around why she has gone into these submissive states and what it is that she needs to do differently from this day on. This is sneaky stuff. This is small on the surface, but the roots to it are deep. And there's a sense of these kinds of dynamics when they're playing out in your bedroom and your business is the guarantee is they lead to bitterness, resentment, frustration, and dissatisfaction. That's a risk of them. It might not be immediately palpable, but the small leaks, the drip, 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 the saying yes to intimacy before you've even checked in with yourself, the saying yes to this thing that doesn't prioritize you or doesn't take your needs into consideration, which is what my client was going through, something really big that wasn't taking her needs for security into consideration. All of these micro offenses create a big rolling, compounding ball of the bitterness, the resentment, and the dissatisfaction. And so when we work together, we ensure that the first drip, it's not that the drip happens, that's not the problem, but what we want to do is we want to intercept and intervene as soon as possible. My client felt like there was a part of her that was just on her knees in this relationship. And so what she was doing within the session was recalibrating and speaking into what is going to be the standard from now on between her and her partner and her clients. Without standards, every single drip, 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 drip power leak, without standards, we've got nothing to move towards. This is where the work really elevates. It's not about moving away from that undesirable state of feeling like you're out of your power, feeling like you are on your knees, feeling like you are submissive. That's not what it's about. It's not necessarily about moving away from that or it not happening. It's about clarifying what you are moving towards. What is it? What are you moving towards? And what is the standard? And what I see is women in business have a sense of mastery around their standards in their business, what they will and won't stand for, what they will and won't allow, and what their boundaries are, which can sometimes be just self-protection dressed up as a line in the sand or a line in concrete. But what can happen is it's easy to set those lines in your business. Like that's not even the biggest aspect of your life where you're going to create these standards and draw these lines and forge these boundaries. It really becomes sticky when you look at your private life, when you look at what happens in the bedroom, and you question how good your standards are there, how your consent works there, what your boundaries are like there, your yes and your no, your fully informed consensual yes and a fully informed consensual no. This is where it gets a lot more charged, really, because there's love in the equation. And there's love with your clients, of course, but there's love and a different kind of commitment with your partner. And over time, what I see women do is allow, sometimes even tolerate things because they just don't believe that it can be better than this with their partner. There's this, speaking of submission, there's also this submission into this is just the way it is. I want them to rise, but can they rise with me? And again, that was another big part of our time together today was, can they rise with me? Can they rise with me? Because it's on you, and you can only control you, but also it's a question of, and that's the first action to take, but it's also a question of, and will they meet you? And if they don't meet you, what's the next action from there? Now, this is big. This is really big stuff. And the more I do this work, the more I see the parallels, the crossover, the intersections even of what happens in the bedroom and what happens in business. It's not always that there's a mirror, although that most certainly happens. Sometimes it's about, I've mastered this, but I haven't mastered this. And this is going to cop the projections, or the projections from this are going to come into this. And it becomes energetically messy. So what you want, if you want to be powerful, if you want to feel profit, not just in your bank account, but the sense of profit and wealth in your body, if you want to feel something that feels like bliss, like ecstasy, then you get to look at both. You get to look at the dynamics in your business. You get to look at the dynamics in your bedroom, and you get to see where it is that your standards are different, what it is that you're settling for and not really challenging. And I did a post recently that started off something to the effect of, if what was happening right now in your bedroom was happening in your business, you wouldn't stand for it. You wouldn't. So you've tightened up this place of your life, this part of your life. You've got systems in place. You've got operating procedures. You've got a team. You've got support. You've got a funnel. You've got it all in place. But your bedroom doesn't have or hasn't had anywhere near the same level of precision, attention to detail, thought, consideration. It really does get deprioritized and put to the it will work itself out category. But if you start to see your bedroom as something that requires investment and care and consideration, and even a sense of structure, which will give it flow, then your bedroom's going to change radically. It won't improve on wishes and hopes, and when this thing happens, then I'll be able to open up. When this money lands, then I'll feel safe, then I'll feel secure, and then my body will open and I won't have a care. I won't be so in my head. It doesn't work that way. And you've made massive strides in your business. And now you get to experience the congruence of an incredible business that makes incredible money and a personal life that is an energetic match for that. You don't have to have this discrepancy between your business and your bedroom, your professional life and your personal life. You get to have both, and you get to have both at an exceptional caliber. We were fed a lie that when we received something, something else would suffer, something else would extinguish or diminish or be in lack. It's not that one will tip when you put your attention on the other. It's about calibrating to a frequency where both are exceptional and you show up congruently to both of them without force, without feeling like you're holding all the time, without masking, without being out of alignment. The energies really are one and the same. SEX, money, men, women, love. But what we've done in our minds is we've put them in all sorts of classifications. And so are you being, I'm going to go back to my original question, are you being submissive somewhere in your business? Or is your business or your bedroom copying the shadow effects of submission from something that's happening in your bedroom? Is something in your business wearing you down so much that you're just like, yeah, whatever, in the bedroom? Fine. Yep. All good. You've lost the drive to really speak up. Really look at where you're saying, that's fine, that'll do. Really look at that. And if that's happening in the bedroom, that is not good enough. And that will wear you down, and your body will eventually reveal its displeasure with you. It's hurt, it's anger. So can you have both a powerful business and a powerful bedroom? Of course. It's really about choosing to put the power of your focus onto your bedroom for a short amount of time and to allow it to elevate to the frequency of what's already incredible about your business, and to really examine where the energies are compensating for each other, where one's copying one thing because this isn't happening here, and all the rest of it. Classic human nature, if that is happening. If something that is pissing you off in your business is being taken out on your bedroom, if something that is pissing you off about your bedroom is being taken out on your business. Classic. It's just energy that's been misdirected, mischanneled. And you were never ever told that you could have both. So I'm telling you that right now. You can have both. And it's so easy. It's easy when you have the right guide, and it's easy when you start to realize that this is an incredible moderator and control center, but this is really where the power is. If you want to look at both, you can say yes to my Unleash Your Potency one-time session. Message me for the link. we look at and cross-examine the energies that are going on within your business, your relationship, and your bedroom. And what I do is channel exactly what you need to hear so that you can take the required action to elevate both and to live from a frequency of red-blooded womanhood where you feel turned on and completely alive by both. That is the standard. You do not have to choose. You can have both. And what you're going to realize is when you increase your intention and intention in the bedroom, you're going to notice increased profits in your business. The why? Because you're no longer dragging that untapped libidinous energy and pouring it into your business. What you are bringing every time you show up, every client contact, every proposal, you are bringing pure, unadulterated fire. Because you are a clear vessel of power and pleasure. There's nothing hanging on. There's no tendrils. Everything is crystal clear from here to there. And there's nothing more glorious. You will be realizing when you step into this container, you'll be realizing that you've done it one way to a point and it got you here. And now you get to do it so differently and it feels better than good. Good's just a starting point in my world. It feels exquisite and it feels so clear and so potent because you are potent, but you've got to want to be potent. So if you do, message me and I'll send you the link to book your one-time session, Unleash Your Potency.